Good evening, all, and welcome to the Prose Readings Festival 2021 at the next event, dedicated to Baltic literature abroad, where we'll be discussing challenges and opportunities for translating Baltic authors to different Baltic languages and also further abroad to English, French, and elsewhere. Tonight we have 6 very esteemed and interesting guests that I'll briefly introduce to you now. So first of all, we have Arno Jundze, the chairman of Latvian Writers' Union and an author in his own right, whose book Red Mercury has been translated to Lithuanian quite recently. Then we have Rims Užgiris, a poet and translator from Lithuanian to English. Also joining us is Nora Ikstena, one of probably best-known contemporary Latvian authors who's been widely translated and has won Baltic Assembly Prize in 2006, which will be relevant shortly. Then we have Džeids Vils, translator, literary agent, and writer as well. Then there's Lēlo Tungala, Estonian writer, best known for her children's prose and poetry, but she has also written quite a few books for adults as well, and she won the Baltic Assembly Prize in 2019. And last but not least, we have Adams Kullens, a translator from Estonian to English. And I'm Vilis Kasims, writer-translator, and actually Džeid's colleague, and I'll be your host for tonight. So I hope you're all warm and cozy and have a cup of tea or something, and you are ready for this discussion. To begin with, I would like to ask our guests about the Baltic Assembly Prize, which is probably the foremost prize for Baltic arts and sciences. And since we have 2 prize winners among us, I wanted to start our discussion with them and with the prize itself. So my question is, first, Nora Ikstena, do you think that the Baltic Assembly Prize now, in 2021, still retains its original function of encouraging cultural exchange between the Baltic countries?
Yes and no. Because I think that this prize would have been like the small Nobel of Baltic literatures, but and during the years, so we see that so many nice and good writers got, not only writers, so also literary critics and art people got the prize. But I think we did not have this encourage and the strength to make this prize as it should be. Of course, when I got it, I don't know the year, but I got it about the book of Imants Ziedonis, and it was the big ceremony, but it is always more like political ceremony, not a ceremony for writers and for artists and for people who deserve it. So I think we are just, as always, we are a bit weak to make the good things out of the what we can do. And I'm not feeling that it is a prize which is which has a big value, even though I'm very proud that I got it, but I think that we need to do more to put this prize on a stage, because I think we have like in a world stage, we have Nobel's Prize, and we call the Baltic Assembly Prize as a small Nobel of Baltics. But I don't think that we do the best things to have a value for the prize. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Thank you, Nora. Since you mentioned the political dimension of the Baltic Assembly Prize, I remembered that actually I think it was Lēlo's daughter, Maria Kangro, who wrote a very interesting article about the Baltic Assembly Prize. I don't know if it's been translated to Lithuanian, but it has been translated to Latvian, and I thought it was a very funny, wry look at the prize. So now I would like to ask Lēlo herself, what do you think about the Baltic Assembly Prize, seeing as you won it quite recently in 2019?
Yes, it's a miracle I got this prize after the Maria's story she has written about. He was in jury before it, so it's not family thing. I got it later, but I can say that to get any award is a very splendid thing, and when I got it in 2019 in Riga, it was a very, very nice evening, and it was very well organized. Although there were really many politics, many of them I don't like really, but I sent it me better because I was the only who got the flowers and the statue and everything, and I got the prize, but the politics wanted to take the picture with me and with all the Latvian and Lithuanian people, Nobelists, and but I think that I counted that 7 Estonian writers have got it before me, and one of them this year, I'm sorry, she died unexpectedly, Vahur Afanasyev, who got this year this prize. And as I think, and as maybe it would be important that after this winning ceremony, it must not end that all the life of this book or this author who has got the prize. And it was the meaning was that all those books will be published in all our languages, in Latvian, Lithuanian, Estonian. It's a meaning of this this prize. But I've heard, maybe it's a rumor, but that now they have a foundation to really to publish all the winners' books. I counted the book of Ježelaitis was the first, and we have of Nora, many books of Nora Ikstena, of course, and by Justinas Marcinkiewicz' book. And now I heard that the book of Ene Mihkelson, Tower, will be in Latvian now, yes. And it's a meaning, I think, that because to know about each other's literature more and more. It's a meaning, not only that one person gets the flowers and money and one very splendid evening and drinks champagne and eats sandwiches and it's all. No, I think that culture is not a pie you can eat. Culture is a process, but must go ahead and ahead.
Yeah, I agree completely. Actually, I agree completely because I think that if you are making the literary prize, you think and you talk about literature, but it's always like that politics are on a stage. And so I mean, when you are looking back for the writers who got the Baltic Assembly Prize, and for the reason that we need to make these translations, that's the main reason of the prize. So we are not getting results. And I think it's not right because it's not, I mean, if you are getting the literary prize, it needs to mean something. I mean, it's about literature, not about politics, not about all these kind of like fancy people getting on a stage and having photos with you. And I think that's the main problem. But of course, it's an honor, but we still to do something about that. So I think it's not really like it needs to be.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you for the answer, both Lēlo and Nora.
Yeah.
And since Lēlo brought up the translations, the publications of Baltic Assembly Prize-winning authors to other Baltic languages, I would like to ask again about the current meaning of the prize to Arno Jundze as the head of Latin Writers' Union, knowing that the writers' unions of all three Baltic countries are now working together probably more closely than before to bring out these books. So I would like to ask, what do you, Arno, think about the current effect of the prize across all three Baltic countries?
Yeah, I totally agree with Nora and Lēlo. I think this prize is wonderful, but something is wrong with this prize. But I will not speak as a writer now or as a chairman of Writer Union. I will speak as a publisher. I think this is an excellent idea. Imagine 3 parliaments, 3 countries give this prize. It's international prize. It's for us mean very much, yeah. But where is the translation? This is main question. Yeah. I think, but first of all, this prize has no its identity. The question is, who is a winner? Excellent book or important and honorable writer who, for his lifetime achievement. Sometimes I look at this list of the winners as a publisher and think, what I can do with this? For example, I read you. For this one is very interesting. For the poetical metamorphosis during the past 3 years, which book I must and I must have translate something here, but I can't translate poetical metamorphosis, or that for his works in 8 volumes which contain high quality poetry. What can I do as a publisher or as a translator? Publish all 8 volumes of these works? It is impossible, yeah. And I think we must first of all decide: is it a prize for good book, or is it a prize for I don't know, lifetime contribution, or just for good writers, or something like that, yeah. I think Baltic Assembly Prize. all the things must be right in the statutes of this prize, yeah, and we must understand what kind of prize it is, yeah. And second problem, I can't say we have laureates, but there is no translation. Of course, we have some few translation, but there is no system how to translate and publish winner book every year. Maybe somebody dreamed that our parliaments would start to translate and publish these books, but I'm afraid they will do not it ever, yeah. I think we must organize this system of publication of winner books, and this system must be accepted in all 3 Baltic countries. I think some publishers try to do it, but even so-called project publishers, first of all, must think about their businesses, but this is not a business project, or this is not a business project now. We speak about very good poetry. This poetry, it is not business. We must publish, and I think the government must support those translations in all 3 countries. Yeah, yeah. And this is why 3 Baltic writer unions 4 years ago started to discuss how to solve this problem. And I think this is why 3 Baltic Ministry of Cultures signed this memorandum in Vilnius. It was, I think, last summer, and everyone agreed that we must do something and publish something. Yeah? But I don't know how big success have Lithuanian colleagues and Estonian colleagues. We in Latvia now have this grant, and we published first 3 books. It was very end of last year. I think after 2 weeks we publish the 4th book, and this will be Vladas Braziunas. This book is printed now, and next year we have plans on Jan Kaplinski. We translate him, Lēlo Tungala, and Donaldas Kajokas. And this is our plans for 2022, and I hope that we have more plans on 2023.
Yes, but I also wanted to add that it's not like that you are like getting the prize and then you are the winner. So because for example, my book got the prize of Baltic Assembly Prize about Imants Ziedonis. It has never been translated into Lithuanian and to Estonian, but my book Mother's Milk got through the like a snowball in Lithuania, and it was a bestseller in Lithuania. So it's I mean, it's always like you don't know how to. I mean, if you are getting the prize, it doesn't mean that your book will be popular, your book will be readable, your book will be famous in other countries. So it's yes. So.
Nora, but you anyway, you must be translated. Your book about Imants Ziedonis must be translated. Yeah.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that I mean the getting the prize, that it's kind of like a ticket for the world. It's not like that. So
it's not like ticket, but I think this is what we must do, because if it is an international prize for 3 countries, we must translate all these things. And
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What I think.
Thank you both. I think Lēlo wants to say something as well.
I'm sorry, because all the books of Nora Ikstena are loved in Estonia always, and maybe you have not found a translator. We must, maybe our Margus Konnula will translate it, because I think that what one good thing with this award is that we can say to publisher and the information between our three countries' publishers, it's not, I think, very, very good. And I know now, I'll ask our translators of Latvian, why is not the book about Imants Ziedonis, whom we always liked, especially the children poetry and everything, my Kurzeme, we liked it, and it must be in Estonian. Yeah, I'll try. I will not translate, but I find the translator, I think.
Thank you, Lēlo. I have a request from the technical crew saying that when you want to answer somebody, if you could please raise your arm as if you're in school.
Okay.
Because then it will be easier for them to focus the camera.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, talking about publishing of Baltic literature abroad, I'm sure this is a topic that the translators have quite a lot to say, since they are the ones speaking to foreign publishers and trying to promote and sell these books abroad. So I want to ask now for our translators, in reference to the Baltic Assembly Prize and other local and regional prizes, how important do you think these prizes are when trying to sell the rights to a book to a foreign publisher? Maybe Rimas can answer to the question first, as both poet and a translator.
Well, I don't think they're terribly important, but they're not unimportant either. Are you seeing my image clearly? Because I'm getting some kind of weird.
Yes, I see you. Yeah.
Okay. I think that it's important when you're presenting a Baltic author to British or American publishers that they have some kind of track record in their home country, that it helps if they've won something. It's not necessary, but it's nice that you can say, this is one of the best writers, this is one of the best poets, look, they've won this or that prize. Those prizes to Americans and British people don't really mean anything. I mean, they don't know what they are. They don't know who the competitors are. The rules are different and so on. It's not like the Pulitzer Prize where, you can win multiple times. In Lithuania, you have all these prizes. You can only win one time, right? So there's all these differences. And they don't know them, and I don't think they care very much. But it is good to be able to say, this is an important writer regionally. People have evaluated this writer very highly. Because I've gotten many young writers who want me to translate things, almost desperate to get published abroad. And they themselves have not achieved really anything in Lithuania. And I always look at them like, well, why do you think that you're going to be this big hit in Britain or America if you are not even a significant writer in your home country? So I do think, getting some recognition is, at least a basic step for people to pay attention a little more to the proposal. That said, I think that in our home countries, we could do a much better job marketing our prizes, including the Baltic Assembly Prize. I know there was a discussion, for instance, of publishing the books with a similar design element, because the marketing element is important just for readers to start learning, right? A lot of people don't know this prize exists. They don't really know anything about it. And I think in the way we publish the books, in America, they often put a sticker on if you won the Pulitzer Prize or something. They say Pulitzer Prize winner, and they add that sticker to the book. I mean, that's a simple thing, but readers see this, and over time, they start to associate this with something important. So that would be my contribution to the discussion of the Baltic Prize, is that we can do more to raise readers' awareness that this exists and that it's important.
Yeah, I agree with that golden proof in your country, that you need to have your golden proof in your country, writing in your own language and being known writer in your own country. But sometimes, so I had there's a long way of my books translated in various languages. And in each and every kind of like episode, I see that it is so different. How are you getting the attitude and the love of readers? And it's not always because of your prices. It's not always like you are known in your country. So it's so many different ways. Of course, it's I agree with you completely that you need to have this golden proof in your country, but then the ways are so different and so amazing how you are getting the readers in many other countries. So it's not always like that you are approved by some prices.
And I'm sure that Jade also has taken it as not only a translator, but a literary agent who has probably spoken to dozens, if not more publishers around the world talking about books from all three Baltic countries. So Jade, what do you think about the impact local and regional prizes would have on foreign publishers?
I agree with both Rimas and with Nora, because it's great to have some that you've been noticed in your own country, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to bring you recognition abroad. And yeah, I just reiterate that I don't think the Baltic Assembly Prize has this sort of weight. But when I started to think a little bit about what prizes actually have that sort of international weight, there's very few that really say something to people. Like Rimas had mentioned, the Pulitzer Prize. We all know the International Man Booker Prize. But does any other national or regional award come to mind that would say something to you? And the only one that I could come up with was the Goncourt Prize in France. It's the only one. And there's other prizes that I know about that are nationally important in one's respective country, but those don't really say anything to the average reader. I'm just thinking about the average reader. You know, what does the Nike Prize in Poland say? Nothing. What does the Magnesia Prize in the Czech Republic say? Also nothing to the average reader, I think. And all the more to foreign publishers. So it's great to be recognized. It can help in promoting a Baltic author to foreign publishers, but it doesn't necessarily mean like based on that alone that someone is going to take that author.
In CV, it will be your awards and so. Okay. But in Estonia, the Latvian translators have got prizes every year, and you know, Maima Greenberga and Guntar Skodins and Livia Vitol, and they have Konula too, and so I think it's good too. Of course, I suppose it's not a very big money, but it's, you are noticed. It's good too, I think.
Thank you. Now Arno wants to say something.
Jade, forget maybe to name this Nordic Council Prize. I don't know, maybe now it's called a little bit other name, but it is very important prize for all this Nordic region. Yeah? And I think this Baltic Assembly Prize is copy-paste in 90s, and they make this prize, but it's very weak copy now. Yeah? And I think this regional prize, it's very important for Baltic states. Yeah? And when I start first, it was, I think, in 2016 when we start this program of London. British publisher come to Riga and first question, how do you have some regional prize for all three Baltic countries? I say, yes, we have beautiful Baltic Assembly prize in literature. And then they start to ask, do these winners are translated in all three languages? How many copies, what critics says, and all that question. And I have no answer at that time.
I need to say that this Nordic prize, the importance of Nordic prize is immense. When you are getting the Nordic prize, being the Nordic author, Nordic writer, you are really getting something. So, and that's what I thought about, that this Baltic Assembly Prize is more like, more like social political event. It's not like a literature event. Yes, and I think it's that's what needed to be changed.
Yeah. Nora, I agree with you. It's really a political event, but if the politics organize these events, they must act as politics. They must pay for translation and publication.
Yes, I have an experience with EBRD Prize, being shortlisted to EBRD Prize together with Olga Tokarczuk and Uzbekistan writer. Nobody remembers his name now, but he got that prize. So, and Olga Tokarczuk got the Nobel Prize in a half a year. So I think that the prizes are like also kind of like a bit the game. And of course, for example, we have in Latvia here in small town Nikšķila, we have Dzintars Sodums Prize for novatorism in literature, like for 10 years. And that's a very important prize for Latvian writers when they are getting, and this is the biggest prize, the money prize made by municipality. And I think when the writers are getting this Sodums Prize, they are so happy as they are getting the small Nobel. And I think it's a nice thing to do. So it's like you just maybe you are doing the small things, but you are doing the good things. So, and it's not maybe known all over the world, but it's very important in your country.
Thank you. Now, maybe I would be interested in hearing Adam's perspective, translating from Estonian, if your experiences have been similar to those of your colleagues, or are there some particularities that you've encountered?
Yeah, I was listening to the discussion thinking, it's not how big the prize is, it's how the writing hits home, in the end. It's so much about whatever wins, whatever gains local recognition, be it within the country or within the region. How does it break out still? How does it address issues that are of interest to foreign publishers, first of all, who are thinking about foreign audiences. How can they take that and, you know, through translation, have something that, you know, contributes to their own national dialogues and narratives? And I would kind of, actually with Rimas, kind of disagree that it's not always too, maybe like who is gained you know, local recognition in these local prizes. Like it obviously will help for your CV and stuff, but or for marketing it. But I think one good example from Estonia is Triin Paja, who has independently gone and written a lot, actually in English, but also been translated and submitted herself to all kinds of English language magazines and journals. It is really up and coming, but without, you know, first gaining kind of big local prizes or anything.
That's interesting. Thank you, Adam. But now I would like probably to go back to the writers in the discussion and ask them, how does it feel for them, for you, to have your works translated to other Baltic languages compared maybe to other translations of your work abroad? Maybe Lēlo can answer that first.
Yes, I'm very proud that my book, Kuru Child, is translated into Latvian and into Lithuanian, the first part, and the two next parts will come out in Latvia, I suppose, next year, or I don't know. Guntas Kodins is translating it. I can say that even the books, what are not hard to read, them are they are very hard to translate sometimes. You know, between the lines, extraordinary for my generations, we have used to write so that between lines there is something more than can be read in the first moment. And so I think that I can show you Latvian and everything. I like it's Latvian book, it's Lithuanian book, it's Hungarian, it's Finnish, it's Russian. Very difficult. Oh, yes, last is German. They are 3 parts together all in Germany. I'm very proud it's the last. But I'm really very proud of the translations into Baltic languages, because it seems to me that we are understanding each other more. Extraordinary this time about what I wrote. It's 15th years of Estonia. It seems from the books of Nora Ikstena I have read that it was very similar in Latvia and Marasalite and everything. We are similar, of course. Finnish language is more close to us, and maybe our habits and everything are more Finnish, close to Finnish, but we have our past and our last 80 years in Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia. They have made us closer than to the other countries. Maybe for the German people or for the Finnish, it's more exotic or more absurd maybe. But I think that we are quite similar all, and I like it very much. It's for me very important, of course. But of course it's nice always if somebody translates you. I have translated from Finnish, from Russian, and I have helped some. We have translated from Latvian with Gunārs Kodins to the children poetry, and I have chosen always so that something what's very close to me, or something it's very far from me, it's interesting too. Maybe it's interesting the people who are and the thoughts what are close to you, and it very interesting are the people who are very not maybe not understandable too. So I like it very much that I have the books in Estonian. And if to speak about translations, we have now new translators from Latvian and Lithuanian. From Lithuanian is a quite young lady, Tiina Kattel, who said that translating from Lithuanian is better than a drug. It's like narcotics. I don't know. I have only one book of her translation I have read, but no, yes, but I'm not habituated to drugs too. But yes.
Thank you, Lēlo. I'll probably ask Rimas and Džeid later, does it really feel like taking a drug when you're translating from Lithuanian? But for now, I wanted to ask Nora, what do you think about what Lēlo said? Do you also find that having your work translated to Lithuanian and Estonian is special because of the similarities we've had in the past?
Not only to Lithuanian and Estonian, and to refer for the speaker before, I just think that I think you need to stay on your language. So my language is Latvian language, and I'm very happy that I went through in the world writing in Latvian and having the very good translations from Latvian into Japanese, into Faroese, into so many languages. So that's, I think that's kind of like having this relief that you are staying on your language and you're writing in your language. And Latvian language is very poetic, very deep language with roots of Sanskrit and Indo-European roots. And I think that gets the same kind of value as the so-called big languages in this world. And I'm very happy that maybe it was not a very easy way, it was not an easy way to go through with a small language into another languages. But I'm very happy that I didn't switch on other languages to be known or to be famous in this world. So I stayed on my language. That's the most important thing.
Thank you, Nora. And now I wanted to also ask Arno's take on the topic about being translated to Baltic languages. As I know, your book, Red Mercury, it also talks about time that was probably very similar across all three Baltic countries, the change of regime. So yeah, what do you think, Arno? Was that extra special that was translated to the neighboring language?
I think Red Mercury is a quite specific novel, and my dream was maybe one day it will be translated into Estonian, Lithuanian, and I am absolutely happy about this Lithuanian translation. I think Jurgis did a big job, and I'm really happy about it, and very like the design of this book in Lithuanian. I think more than Latvian, yeah. But I was absolutely happy. It was months ago. I go to Pērnus, to Kaubu Majakas Apollo bookstore and buy this book. I wait for this book more than, I don't know, it's 12 years for this translation, and now it's published, and I'm really happy about to be translated in Estonian, because I have some roots from Estonia, and I think I have some Estonian blood a little bit. I'm really happy to be translated.
That's good to hear. And I hope that all three of you will have more translations to Baltic languages in particular. But I do have a provocative question now. It's about the same topic, translations of Baltic literature into other Baltic languages. But I wanted to ask if you think that it is still as important as it was, let's say, in the 80s and 90s, as it is now, due to the rising influence of English as the secondary reading language, especially among younger readers. So I wanted to ask that probably to the translators in here. So maybe Adam can say what he thinks about this topic.
I mean, I think translation into all languages is important. I wouldn't be worried, I think, about well, English in particular, having Baltic authors being translated into that, and then the fear that young readers in, for in our case in Latvia and Lithuania, might go to the English translation before they would go to a translation in Estonian, because distribution is a big issue that we have in general. Getting Estonian literature that's translated into English available in bookstores here, it's a very finite selection, and it's pretty much only available in one of our two big chains, Rahvaraamat. Apollo carries a very, well, it's not, can't really call it a bookstore anymore anyway. But I feel like youth will probably gravitate more towards the literature they see on the shelves, which are in their own language, at least from the Estonian perspective. I myself would love to see more literature from all three states that's translated into English available here in English as well. Also for the foreign audience here who may not read in Estonian very much, for them to increase their kind of awareness of their surroundings. But I wouldn't be worried. I think I'd only support more of it's spreading further.
And Rimas, would you agree with your colleague on this?
Yes, I would. I mean, the fact is, multilingual people like to have multiple translations available. And well, there's 2 points I want to make. One is we like being able to read multiple translations. So I've, for instance, got Jan Kaplinski just translated into Lithuanian. This isn't available in English, and I love having it, right? And my favorite translations of Ruzhevich are Aleshanka's into Lithuanian. I think he does a better job than the English translators. So I think having them available, translations in the Baltic languages, is very important. And also from a writer's perspective, this is my second point. From a writer's perspective, you want to absorb the work in your own language. I mean, I love, as much as I love reading Kaplinski in Lithuanian, I really kind of want to have him in English too. I almost wanted to translate from the Lithuanian, which is translated from Russian, into English just so I could absorb it in my own native language. And I imagine a lot of writers have this feeling, poets certainly, that you kind of want to absorb it in your own language. And so I think people are always going to want translations in their own language. But at the same time, they enjoy having options.
Yeah.
I totally back you up on that. Yeah.
Yes. Can I have like a small episode here? So this is my book, Mother Milk, Leche Materna in Spanish. And I mean, I think we are a bit arrogant about the English market. We think that the English market is the biggest market in this world for books. But it's not like that. So I'm now sitting in my kitchen in a small town in Latvia and having Zooms with Mexico and Spain book clubs with my book in Spanish. I mean, we are just need to change perspectives because English language is not the biggest market in this world. Spanish, Latin America, Mexico. I mean, you just, I mean, when we are talking about the big markets, we are always thinking that the English market is the biggest market, but it's not true. There are bigger markets for the books and bigger readership. Like, for example, in Spain, people are reading books like hell. So they love the books. And we are just, I mean, we are just stuck in this English market, the importance of English market, which is not true.
Yeah, I totally agree with Nora. I have beautiful reception of my novel in Mexico. Yeah, it was really fantastic. They are so temperamented and so hot, and this publication of the May of 9, this is Victory Day for Soviets in Second World War. They publish big articles about my novel, and this all was about why the Soviet Union crash answer in this book. Yeah, it's fantastic, really. Yeah, and I think we must think not only about English market, but we must think about German market. It's for Latvia, I think, a very important thing, and Spanish market, and then maybe some other markets, and separate all the things. And in Latvian we have, I don't know how to translate. Maybe Nora can translate this salikt olas dažādos groziņos. Can you help me?
Put the eggs in different baskets.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Then I think Lēlo. Yeah.
There was a question that maybe now we are not reading each other's books in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia so much than some decades ago. But it seems me that now it's rising, the interest to the Latvian and Lithuanian literature in Estonia. And not only because there are good books in Latvia, in Lithuania, but because we have good translators. It's very, very important because you can translate like at Soviet time, you know, it was planned economy, and there were published. Had to publish the Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and how many books, and they were friendship of the people. Yes, friendship of the people. I don't know how it was in Latvian. Rahvaste sõprus eesti keeles, and if you had in Russian a book, it came to the Kyrgyzia, Moldova, in every land, and there were some writers in Estonia not known, but they were known in all the republics of Central Asia and so. And we had to publish. They had Eesti Raamat, our publisher, had to publish the books about the camel milkers and cotton rice growers, and so it was a friendship of the people. But from Latvian and Lithuanian, we always translated straight, you know, never were through Russian. We had good translators, and I counted there was Mihkel Loodus and Valli Helde, who translated from Latvian 40 books, and Loodus translated 80 books from Lithuanian. Of course, there were maybe very thin books too. But in 1990s, there was a very bad time for literature in Estonia at all. Our original books, poetry doesn't come out, and children books, and because there was time for the sexual literature and about the memoirs of forest brothers and maybe religion books and everything what was forbidden in Soviet time. But good belletristic, it was not so few, but now it's rising, and we really like. It's not friendship of people. We don't really like your books, so please contact with our translators, and of course it's good that there are good translators who can like their language and who are reading much who are reading not only the books they are translating, but they have the picture of all Latvian literature and Lithuanian literature, and they are really interested of it. So I am quite optimistic, Baltic optimist.
Thank you, Lēlo. And then I think building up from what Lēlo said about the differences in what was translated during the Soviet era and how the situation was in the 90s and afterwards. Jade has lived in all three Baltic countries over the previous couple of decades. So I would be interested in learning from Jade how has the literature of other Baltic countries been disseminated in these, let's say, last couple of decades. What have you noticed the differences in the accessibility of literatures of other Baltic countries in Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, especially in these past years compared to, let's say, 15 years ago?
I totally agree with Lēlo that there were, maybe in publishing, there were other things that the publishers were focusing on more so. They weren't focusing so much on the literatures of other countries. I also think that there was a change in the generations of translators, because I think that there was a bit of a lull where there really weren't a lot of people that wanted to translate. Maybe there were, you could count them on your one hand, but they weren't very active, or they didn't find what they wanted to publish. And it's the translators that are really, I think, very important in this whole process. And I think people that are involved in literature know the people by name, like already Gunter Skodinch was mentioned, Maima Greenberga, in the past, people like Mihkel Loodus, Tiina Kattel, those are the people that are really helping to drive, I think, this new wave in translation. I also think what's been really essential is the financial mechanisms for paying for the translations and for the publishing, which maybe were not there in the 1990s and early 2000s. So that, I think that's also an essential tool. And now you've started to see a lot more translations coming out, and that's really great to see.
Talking about the translations that are coming out now in particular, I think it's probably worth asking Arno, as Latvian Writers Union has published these books of the Baltic Assembly Prize winners and is planning on doing that in the future. Could you tell us about the reception that these books have received in Latvia?
Reception of first three books were very good, I think. It was not very good time because we have these lockdowns and all closed bookshops and all that things of COVID. But anyway, I think we sold the greatest part of the copies, and it's we see that interest is quite big, and I think it will be a good future. I hope maybe this all collisions with pandemic situation will be normalized in the future, and there will be more possibility to marketing this products and have some readings or something like that. But last year was very bad in this case, yeah, and we do as all possible things to promote these books, and I think when we publish the fourth book and the 5 and 6 and 7, this is a value of this series grow up, and I think we will do something more for this first 3 books too, because I think it's very important to promote, to organize all this marketing event, radio, TV, meeting with librarians and all these things, if you want to get some success in this field, yeah.
Since now we've heard about Estonia and Latvia, I think, Rimas, maybe you could tell us a bit about how has literature of Estonian and Latvian authors been received in Lithuania in these, let's say, past 5 years?
Well, that's not my area of expertise. I'm certainly, I'm looking right now at 2 books that just came out. One I mentioned, Kaplinsky's Late Russian Poems. This was a massive hit among poets. It came out in the Druskininkai Poetry Festival, and people were posting poems from it online on Facebook, and talking about it. I also managed to get Semyon Hanin, also poems from Russian translated into Lithuanian, just came out also for the Poetry Festival. So we seem to be getting more and more, my impression, translated into Lithuanian from Baltic authors, which is very nice. But I can't quite say, give you statistics. My specialty is going into English. And I've noticed a lot of guests we've had at poetry festivals, I can say that also. A lot of Baltic poets have been invited and have come. So there does seem to be quite a lot of exchange and interest, certainly among writers at least. How much that goes into the broader audience? Well, Nora's book certainly, but beyond that, I'm not sure.
I hear that Anna Michalson Torn will be translated into Lithuanian and published soon, and Gundaga Repše Bogen maybe next year, but I don't know about these plans.
Thank you. I have one last question to all of you, but I thought before I move on to that, if any of you have comments about anything that has been said by any of the guests recently. Since you don't, I assume, then I'll move to the last question, which is I wanted to ask all of you in turn about books by Baltic authors that you personally have read recently that maybe have stuck in your mind the most in, let's say, in the past few years. And maybe Nora can start.
Yes, it's a Mario Kangro, Glasschild. It's an amazing book. So that translated by Maima Greenberga into Latvian. So it's really amazing book because we met first with Mario in Oxford in St. Anne's College when she was reading the excerpts from the Glasschild. So, and I immediately catched the, I mean, it's amazing text, very deep, very poetical, very emotional, and I was so happy that the book came out in Latvia, and I was participating also in a small presentation in Latvia by Maria's book. So I am amazed about her writing, really.
Thank you.
Now I think it's probably Lēlo's turn then to say about what she has read recently.
I have many favorites. It seems like a rare compliment, but I really like the Mother's Milk of Nora Ikstena and The Man in the Blue Raincoat too. I like it very much. I read it later than The Mother's Milk, and it was a surprise for me. And then, of course, Alvydas Lepikas, Lithuanian. My name is Marite. I like it. It's very hard book and a very awful book and a very, very good book. There are, of course, good Lithuanians, drug writers like Tina Katter said that it's good to translate, but they have such a difficult family names. Sapaliauskaite, I like Sapaliauskaite, yes, Empress of Peter. I like it very much, but there are more difficult names too. Very good writers, women especially, but I better don't say it. It's so long names and so they can change the names. We can translate them more and more. But I have one Latvian favorite too. It's Kārlis Kalbe. It's a very good fairy tale writer, and I have liked him. I don't know, 40 years or more, and we have written with my husband and some friends Estonian first rock opera on this one fairy tale. How did I was looking for North Maiden, such a very good fairy tale, and this opera was in Kaunas in opera stages too in 1983. I'm so old, and I think that maybe Latvians and Lithuanians are a little more poetical than the practical Estonians. I have a drop of Latvian blood too. My great-grandfather was Latvian, Ernests Jägermans, so I like Latvians. Lithuanians too, but they have such a bad names. So long name.
You were so great.
I'm having traumatic flashbacks to my childhood in America. Like, terrible name.
Thank you, Lēlo. My greatest discovery of this last year is Lithuanian poets Martinaitis and Braziūnas. I don't know which is better, but I'm absolutely happy that we publish these books, and I was absolutely happy to be one of the first readers of this Latvian edition of this. It's selected poems, some kind, yeah, and really fantastic. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Sometimes I think it will be wonderful if Latvians can collect all good poets from Estonia and Lithuania and make them as Latvian poets. Really fantastic poesy. Yeah.
Thank you, Arno, for the idea. Maybe in a couple of decades we'll get all the good poets to Latvian, then we'll make them Latvian and make them change their names.
Yeah.
The easier ones. But to continue with the question about recently read books, I'd like to turn to the translators. So maybe Adam, can you tell us what has caught your attention recently?
Sure, yeah, like Lēlo, I was caught my eye in the shop. I actually saw someone posted on Instagram a good review of Kristina Sabaliauskaite.
Yeah.
There we go. So this is, I haven't read it yet, but I went to the bookshop and I picked it up. As for Estonian literature, because, also I spend so much of my time focused on translating that I don't get to branch out as often as I would like into our neighbors. But one good Estonian poet, Hasso Krull, came out with a new collection recently called Ava, which I haven't settled on a good title for that, even though it's only a three-letter title. So I'm working on the translation of a few of his poems already. But I would also just shamelessly plug No More Amber, which is a great accomplishment that we've done with Džeids and Rimas and many other people. So this has given me an opportunity definitely to start kind of digging into what's going on south of our border. And it was a question, we had to skip over, I guess, but as for like the reception of it, it's just in Sirp, which is Estonia's biggest cultural, I'd say biggest cultural newspaper, the most read maybe. There was just a review of No More Amber, and it was glowing, to say the least. So we're on a good track to with what we're doing.
And then let's see what Džeids has to recommend from his wide and recent readings.
It's good that you mentioned No More Amber, Adam, because actually that was something that led me to read something I probably should have read long ago, and I probably shouldn't admit that I hadn't gotten around to it, but I contributed to the journal and translated a few of Daina Sirma's poems, and that was a discovery for me, probably like the biggest discovery of the last year and a half. And I also have to say that since I'm primarily focused on reading Latvian authors, I haven't really gotten much of a chance to read things from other countries. It's quite tough because I think over the last 4 years, since 2016, working as an agent, I focused so much on reading Latvian authors. I also tried to go back and to read authors from outside the Baltic. And I've kind of been mixing that in with other books. One book that does come to mind is Jana Agle's short story collection, The Birthday, Dzimšanas Diena. I felt that was a very strong book. That's the first thing that comes to mind. So,
thanks, Jeids. And Rimas, you already mentioned Jan Kaplinski.
Yes, I mentioned Jan Kaplinski, and Adam mentioned Trīn Pāja, and it gives me a chance to say, yes, she is a great exception as a young person who has, for some reason, how has she not yet won Estonian prizes? I love her poetry, both in English and translated from Estonian.
She did win the debut prize. I'll give you that.
She did the debut. Okay, well, good. So she was published as a chapbook, a small chapbook translated into Lithuanian here. I think it was a year ago. And so I have been able to read more of her work, and I really look forward to always finding more of her work yet again. She's one of those young writers who's clearly, I think, going to do great things.
All right. Thank you all for participating, for discussing. I think we touched on quite a few points over the course of the evening, and I hope that the viewers have enjoyed it and maybe picked up some authors for themselves, and maybe they will find the No More Ember, the beautiful orange book, somewhere in their bookshops and have a look at it. But now I think it's time to say goodbye. If your
that was so great to talk to you guys.
Yeah, then I hope you have a warm night, and yeah, goodbye all.
Thank you.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Nägemist.
Thank you. Thank you.